Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of podcast Grow Together. I'm your host, Mr. Raza. Today, we have a very amazing guest, Mr. Vesa Perälä. Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm doing very good. How are you? Thank
First,
you.
I'm good. Thank you so much, Vesa, for accepting invitation. I have seen your profile, the work you are doing, especially in the work in the journey of the entrepreneurship is such an amazing work.
Oh, thank you. It's been definitely a long journey, at least, if nothing else.
Vesa, maybe you have go through this statement that a number of times we have seen that people are complaining about the education system. I need to know that how much your education helps you to reach there.
Yeah, I think that's a very common topic, and especially when I'm dealing in or working in the education technology space, there is basically a constant debate about what to fix, what's wrong, and what to fix, and much less actually how to fix different things in the education systems. And it's a really good question. It's a kind of funny area as well, because fundamentally education hasn't really changed for more than 150 years. It's and this is from the global perspective. It's still very much a teacher-led broadcasting type of way of educating people, and at the same time, the gap between working life and what the education institutions are providing is getting bigger. So it's obviously not an easy one. I mean, we would have obviously solved it already, but I think it's that gap has to get narrower. I mean, that's definitely one fact, I think, because obviously if we educate people to professions which won't exist anymore when they graduate, so then that question of yours is actually completely useless. I mean, we know the answer. So I think actually there is no one answer. So I'm not trying to even solve it right now. But I mean, there's a lot of talk about the future life skills and working life skills, and I think it's actually much more about how we adapt those into in the school education systems than. So it's more like a mindset and fundamental change we need to do, and so it's not that much anymore about how do you memorize things, because the information is available everywhere. So it's more about, I mean, how can we use the knowledge that's surrounding us anyway? How do we upskill, reskill everybody in the society? And that's a continuous journey. It's not just that, I mean, you go and get a degree.
It never ends.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, that's the sort of reskilling part, and I think we need to approach it from that sort of a fundamental perspective.
Exactly. Vesa, you done your master's in 1995, and then you get into the job, one of the leading brand, Nokia. How was that experience?
Oh, that was a good experience back in 95. I mean, the mobile phone industry was obviously just about to start booming. Finland, where I'm coming from, is obviously a small country with 5.6 million people. I guess Nokia, we had obviously our share of big companies back then already. But Nokia was maybe the first one which was really leading one internationally. And I was studying my last year in Germany, actually, and you started seeing that, hey, there is this company from Finland that's doing really, really well. And then I had a job already, actually, I mean, straight from the school, but had to basically join Nokia. It sounded so interesting, and that was a really, really good experience. I was there 10 years and learned a lot. So definitely, I would say another sort of, well, non-degree, obviously, but really, really effective way of learning something from the very best of the industry.
And how was the transition period from working in someone else's company and then building your own company?
Yeah, I think that's, I mean, from mindset perspective, I've probably been an entrepreneur all my life, a lot of entrepreneurs in the family, and that was always something I wanted to do, and never had that sort of like light bulb moment that, hey, this is the innovation I'm gonna start developing. So I spent 15 years in corporate life, which actually, when I'm now thinking about it, was really good, because you obviously have a lot of good experience, which you can then adapt and utilize in your entrepreneurship career. But I think my last 3 years of the corporate career was in Denmark, where I was heading one division of a public listed company, and then sort of decided, hey, now I start doing something about my potential entrepreneurship career. And there was no talk about like startups back in 2007, 2008. There was just like small companies, and I started investing a little bit in some companies. That's a really, really fast way of learning, because when you lose your own money, you sort of learn fast. And but then joined the company as CEO, and that basically then led to founding companies, which I've been then doing like 11, 12 years.
If I'm not wrong, I guess in 2016 you visited India for any kind of like event. How was that experience?
Yeah, I think India has always had a special place
Yeah,
in my sort of education heart. And I mean, I spent a lot of, I don't know, 15, 20 times in India in 2017, 18. And it was maybe a little bit too early from the education technology maturity or market maturity perspective. But we obviously, I mean, we had a discussion on whether we should be doing, taking like China, USA, or India as one of the sort of big markets. And we decided to go for India at that point of time. And all the visits obviously were basically like market entry preparation. We have still some customers, but we might be doing a sort of second attempt next year.
great. So you have been working in different countries, especially to span your across various countries to entrepreneurial ventures, especially in the Denmark, UK, Germany, US, and UAE. What challenges you have been faced in this country, and where you enjoyed the most?
Well, I get my kicks out of closing deals. I mean, whether it's fundraising or partnership or sales, I mean, that's typically the sort of thing that takes me off. But I mean, all the countries are very interesting. And I mean, you always have the local culture, and maybe the rules and sort of bureaucracy are getting about the same. I mean, of course, you have like different nuances in different countries, but everything is improving from that perspective. So, I mean, all my responsibilities in all the job positions have always been global by nature. So the sort of country of origin or where I worked hasn't really impacted that much, actually. I mean, I like the different cultures. I like working abroad. I like getting to know new cultures. But I mean, the responsibilities have always been global. So I mean, it's not really that huge a change from that perspective. I could be currently working from any place. Well, I mean, talking to India now. I mean, I'll have a call to Australia, to Belgium today as well. A couple of calls to Finland. So it's super international anyway. And I mean, when that's been the sort of mindset and spirit for the last 30 years, yeah, you can go anywhere, and which is still something I like. So I mean, we're definitely planning the next sort of adventures again as well.
Great. Plus, I've seen your LinkedIn profile, and where you have highlighting this issue to defeating illiteracy. How much this topic is close to you, and you're working in that domain?
Yeah, I mean, that's maybe, I mean, what's really cool in the education area is that you're not dealing weapons or drugs or anything. It's something for common good, and that's been always like a very, very rewarding thing on personal level. And now one of the ventures, I'm the co-founder. I'm not operationally that much involved, helping the guys as much as I can. It's really about defeating illiteracy. So we have a company called Graphogain, and it's the only evidence-based early literacy game in the world. So most university spin-off 300 peer-reviewed publications, and as effective as one-to-one teacher training. And obviously, I mean, when we think about, I mean, we studied, I mean, for example, there's a nice quote from University of Cambridge, which has been the research partner for the British English version of the game. So they are saying that it's as effective as one-on-one teacher training in a classroom, but any number of kids can be playing it at the same time. And if you think about because scale is impact. And if you take, I mean, India is a great example. I mean, every kid should be learning to read in their own mother tongue. Yeah. And we have a huge shortage of teachers everywhere. I mean, UNESCO is saying that we are lacking like 69 million teachers in the world by 2030. So there are no teachers who would be, or enough teachers who would be teaching the kids to learn to read. So this is a perfect example, I mean, when the education technology can be doing something. it's an offline game. You can download and you actually
great.
effectively learn to read in a matter of days. And it's done. I mean, it's a neurological sort of brain research. So it's super effective. And I mean, prestigious universities have been studying the methodology for more than 15 years. So we know it works. So I mean, that's why, and as you can see, I'm definitely getting excited about the topic. So so that's sort of like, I mean, I'm not talking about like legacies or anything, but I mean, it feels good to be part of doing something fundamentally good, because obviously from learning perspective, learning to read is the most fundamental skill everybody should be getting. And that's one of the sort of, I mean, that's something I could be spending my rest of my career with.
This is one of the very common problem all over the world about the education, and the number of people are not getting the right of the education. Similarly, now we have the technology which we can take the maximum benefit from it, especially when they have the internet, cell phones. So we can create such type of ecosystem where the students can learn. And mainly the point which you have been raised about a teacher's training. We have to be emphasized on the teachers training as well. If we have a well-trained teacher, so they can work better on in their classrooms.
Yeah, I think actually, if we talk about education systems and going a little bit back to your first question, so professional teacher training is probably the area where countries, governments should be investing in. Because I mean, if teachers are not up to date with the latest, both from pedagogical, technological, or from any angle, I mean, there is no way of really making a change in the education system. So that's another area where I would, I mean, obviously you need fundamental skills like reading, mathematics, and so forth. But then actually when you really start upskilling people, so then teachers have obviously a crucial position in that process. And investing in that professional teacher training is definitely something that's paying high dividends.
Even after the COVID, we have noticed number of edtech startups which are doing a great job. If you talk about the Pakistan, we have seen number of edtech startups which are trying to provide the education at in a very easiest way, in an easy manner.
Yeah, and it's getting. I mean, I think the market is getting better. I mean, Pakistan is a great place from that perspective. We've been working together with a couple of schools there as well, and you see the need. And I mean, it's actually pretty similar than in a lot of countries. Huge population, and I mean, the youth, the kids. I mean, they know how to use whatsoever. It's maybe more the teachers who need training in that sort of an area. But I mean, they have already accepted that the sort of digital education is part of the, not even part of the future. It's part of today. And I mean, and it should be very much about how do we use those technologies. Obviously, there is a lot of things wrong in the education technology market as well. I mean, if the focus is simply on features and deploying software, we very easily forget how people learn in general. So the pedagogical perspective should be there, and that's actually where the teachers obviously come in as well as pedagogical professionals. But I mean, yeah, Pakistan is a great example of how companies are emerging, and some will always succeed and others not. But I mean, I would say it's a very good and normal development.
Great. Acha, one more point, Vesa, I want to discuss with you here. In the last few years, the startup culture is growing in our country. Especially the university graduate start thinking to start your own business, in which we have seen the different incubation centers also starting in Pakistan. And university also take initiative to provide this opportunity to the students related to the incubation centers. But the very interesting part which you have been mentioned in your profile is about the scale up the business. So what advice you want to give to that particular businesses, how they can scale up their businesses?
Well, I mean, maybe again, there is no one single answer because scaling up is obviously something super difficult. But I think one thing I would advise everybody to do as soon as possible is start the sales. Because especially as tech entrepreneurs, people tend to think that, hey, we need to make that product perfect and add that one more feature or whatever it might be. And I mean, you should actually go out there and start selling and start the commercial activities, even if those are pilots. But I mean, getting customer feedback and understanding how that product can be sold, so service can be sold. What sort of feedback are we getting? I mean, is it really as good as we think ourselves? So I mean, it's never too early to start the sales. There was actually one it's a Finnish startup guru, Morten Mikos, actually, who's been living in the Bay Area for ages already, and he's always saying that if you're not ashamed of your product when you start the sales, it's too late. And then so I mean, you need to really start gathering that commercial feedback, that customer feedback as soon as possible. And maybe the second thing is that, and again, as like tech entrepreneurs, we tend to be so focused on the technical finesses and features and that sort of things, and it's kind of easy to forget actually what is the real added value. What is that benefit I'm providing to my customers or users? So we need to think less. I mean, tech is obviously important, but I mean, you need to turn it into benefits.
Yeah.
And then you need to test it, and then you need to iterate it and do it as fast as possible or as early as possible.
So there's one interesting point which you have been highlighted here, to learn how to do a sale by yourself. And fortunately, unfortunately, some number of times this is a soft skill which you may need to be learned. And maybe sometimes you hesitant or shy to pitch your own idea. Even pitch your own idea is something very easy in front of the investor, but in front of the customer to convince to buy that product, something is very difficult. To bring that product to the market, and by yourself, you're going to be share the features of that product and asking a potential customer to buy that product. So how can we inculcate the selling skills in our students in a very early age during the school, university, or college program?
Yeah, I think it's actually, this goes back to like one, I would say, fundamental thing in founding startups, the founding team. Because obviously, if you're the super tech guy, I mean, the one dealing with AI algorithms, whatever, it might be a little bit too much to ask that you would be doing the sales as well. So you need to actually form the team in a way that you have somebody who's not ashamed, who can do the sales anywhere, anytime, to anyone. So I would say actually that composition of that founding team is super important. And I mean, you need to look at the commercial side and then obviously technological side as well, or whatever actually that sort of niche might be. And because I mean, I would say one of the mistakes I've been always doing is that you try to do too much yourself when you should be focusing on that sort of super strength you might have. Then you build the team around it. I mean, somebody takes care of the product and somebody takes care of the marketing communication or HR at later stage. So it's really, I mean, about surrounding yourself with better people than you. I mean, fundamentally, I would say, but from different perspectives. So, but absolutely, somebody has to have the nature for new business development. I mean, you need to be able to see the opportunities basically everywhere, like almost 24/7. I mean, you hear something, and I mean, the immediate thought should be that, hey, how can I turn that thing I heard into a business opportunity? Maybe short term, maybe long term, doesn't matter. But I mean, it's very much about that sort of a mindset you need to, or somebody has to have in the team.
Thank you so much.
And obviously, I mean, I mean, teams do evolve. I mean, you start from product development perspective, and then the focus has to be always there to get the MVP ready or getting close enough to that commercial stage. But then the mindset of the company has to change as well. I mean, R&D guys obviously love to do development, but I mean, at some point of time, you need to focus on your end users and customers from commercial perspective as well.
Exactly, because the purpose of the business is to make a profit. And is that possible when you're going to be cover all the areas in that? Thank you so much, sir, for your time. I really enjoyed the conversation with you. The last advice that you want to give to the entrepreneurs, okay, how can they make the maximum benefit of their programs?
I think I would say it's very much about preparation and knowing, understanding what you need. Because it's always a give and take type of game. And I mean, if you go to any program, you need to really think about, because you're going to be investing time, maybe something else into it as well. So I mean, you need to have your goals really, really clear. And I mean, discuss those with your team, and then always take them up actually within the program. But hey, we're here for things 1, 2, 3. And I mean, but preparation is definitely key in this sort of thing. It's quite often the case that you sort of like sign in and start a program, incubation, acceleration, whatever. But I mean, if you're not really prepared and I mean ready to make that investment time-wise, you're probably not going to get the benefits. And then it's like a little bit of waste of time for everyone. So it's like, I mean, don't do it half-heartedly. I mean, just go for it. I mean, analyze, of course, if it makes sense and if that's the best thing to do at that given point of time. But once you're in, I mean, then you need to be in 100%. And I mean, get those benefits basically yourself. And if you're not doing it, I mean, nobody can help you properly. I mean, of course, you're going to be getting advice and so forth. But I mean, yeah, preparation. I would say that's the key in that sort of programs.
Great advice. Thank you so much, Vesa. It's an amazing conversation with you. Hope so everyone liked this conversation. It's mainly about how can you become a successful entrepreneur and what skills you need or require to make your product better, especially to scale your business. It's a very interesting point which Vesa has highlighted is about to learn how to do a sale and do it by yourself. When you talk to your customer, when you directly communicate with your customer, you get a better feedback about your product. And if there's any improvement required, you can do it in a very better way. So hope so you like this conversation and it helps you in your journey as well. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Take care.